right, you are here for Dylan Krieger's book launch. Thank you all for coming out on this rainy, stormy, tornado, not tornado evening. If you did not get the alert saying that we were under tornado watch, you should sign up for one of those. But it got canceled, so yay. 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 Good job. All right, so we have 4 readers tonight. We're opening with Ben Morris, Carolyn Hembree, and then Rodrigo Toscano, and then Dylan's going to take the stage. Yeah. All right. So starting us off, Benjamin Morris is a native of Mississippi and the author of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, A History of the Hub City, Arcadia 2014, as well as 2 books of poetry, most recently Ecotone, Antenna Press, Street Press 2017. His work has appeared in the Oxford American, Lit Hub, and the Southern Review, and received fellowships from the Mississippi Arts Commission and Tulane University. Recently, he won the 2021 Words and Music Writing Competition for Poetry, judged by Amy, I am so bad at pronouncing her last name. Will you say it louder? Thank you. He lives in New Orleans, where he serves as one of the coordinators for the New Orleans Poetry Festival, coming up. If you haven't registered, you can't register, it's free. You don't need to register. You should be there. Yeah, just walk in the door, it'll be great. He lives in New Orleans, where he serves as one of the coordinators for the New Orleans Poetry Festival. Yay. His next book, all right, come on up to the stage, Ben Morris.
You guys are too kind, and yeah, with the festival in April, like, just show up, like, we're gonna party down, it's gonna be great. And, that's kind of what we do for National Poetry Month here in this city. Thank you guys so much for your graciousness in inviting me to read tonight. There is so much new poetry in this season. I absolutely love it. You know, this is the coolest thing. We have Carolyn's incredible new book, which, I mean, I was just reading some this afternoon, and the way that she is able to take the chronos of our lives and inject the kairos into them in order to completely reframe our attention is absolutely deserving of everybody's attention here. Nobody looks at clouds the way that Carolyn Hembree looks at clouds. And I mean that with every fiber of my being. Rodrigo is always publishing a new book. It's like, you know, dropping a new book for him is like a tree dropping some leaves. You know what I mean? It's like every 30 minutes, you know, a new book comes out. Like, slow down for the rest of us, dude. And Dylan, you know, I have to say, your poems they always remind me of depth charges. And what I mean by that is they drop silently into the water, right? And they lurk there, and at some point, you never know when it's going to be, there's an explosion. What is truly remarkable about them, and what I think I love the most, is not the fact of the explosion. That's not where the horror lies. The horror lies in the fact which comes before depth charges, and that fact is the fact of submarines. One reveals the other, and the explosion makes it all plain. So I'm super excited to hear some depth charges drop tonight. So hooray, hooray. I'm going to read from 2 books. One is very, very old, and one is a bit more recent. The first one is a book called Coronary, and it is a collection of sonnets. Can you guys hear me all right in the back? Yeah. It is a collection of sonnets, which was written in the aftermath of a heart attack that my father had about 14 years ago. And they all came very, very quickly. I mean, I wrote several a day, you know, the mad rush, things were happening quickly. And it took some time to kind of compile them, but they eventually formed a kind of narrative of that moment. And so I wanted to just share a couple, partly because, you know, with the pandemic and our recent rearview mirrors and all of its surrealisms and strangenesses, I didn't want us to memory hole those things that we saw and experienced. So it feels like sometimes we do that, and as we know, poetry is a form of witness, and this was something which for some reason, I just kind of kept coming back to these experiences in this book during the pandemic and in the aftermath. So I'm going to read just 3 sonnets from Coronary. This is called Donor. The blood bank called today. I can't give blood or even plasma due to the shots I'm taking. Consider this. I'm O positive, the near universal donor, and I'm not able to give blood back to the man who gave me mine. Even though you taught me to lie on all the forms provided, no ma'am, I've never left the county, much less the country. The cells speak nothing but the truth. I would donate my blood, my veins, or my heart. Would any of it bring you back? But the cold facts stand between us. Deception is an art that meets its nemesis in science. Our blood still whispers even in its silence. This next one, I've not read this one in a long time. This one for some reason stood out today. So here we are. This is called Tremor. We've found a minor tremor in your arm. Your right shoulder, just above your heart, wakes and shakes itself each time we step into the room. This simple art of, sorry, it's a little dark in here. If there's any way that I could get just a hair more light, I would be so grateful.
Maybe push the mic back.
Yeah, try that. Thank you. In my old age, right? That's a little better. That's a little better. Yeah, thank you. Good call.
Good suggestion.
I'll start from the top. We found a minor tremor in your arm. Your right shoulder, just above your heart, wakes and shakes itself each time we step into the room. The simple art of conjuring commotion from your flesh is a new addition to your repertoire. We stand around your bed and watch you rest, unsure of what to look for next, or where. The trick to any magic lies in how you conceal the act that follows in the one you're currently performing. Look now, up here, you seem to say, above the gown, while you prepare a miracle beneath it. But will we have to see it to believe it? The last one from Coronary that I'll read is called Rat. There was a time when my father, he was in the hospital for about a month before he came home, and there was a time where things began to just the nature, the shape, and the texture of the days for all of us began to change, and I just thought it was important to capture some of that. So this is called Rat. My mind is like a rat, you tell me. It has to have something to gnaw on. It's late. We're alone. I've brought in vodka and a bottle of water to help me sleep, but can't imagine what you go through when I do. Laying awake in the dark, your thoughts unspooling like a reel back to where you were before tonight or hoped to be. Your own personal film strip of your life with all the frames spliced into one another. Your parents, the war, your younger brother, your sons, the daughter you lost, your wife. Drunk and snoring, I've left the television on. In the dark, your mind's dark tooth grows long. I'm really grateful, in particular with respect to that book, to John Fitzgerald here in town who printed it. If you know John, with Fitzgerald Letterpress, he just did an absolutely beautiful job. And the one joke that we have about it is in the most recent edition, they ran out of paper that they had used to print the previous editions. They just didn't exist anymore. And so the closest thing that John could find was, and I'm not making this up, you can go over there, you can feel it yourself, velvet paper. It is the it's a dark red velvet paper. It is the Bordello edition of this particular book. So we do what we can. We do what we can. So the other book that I'm going to read from is a newer book, and it is so new that it is not even out yet. And you guys are family, so you heard it here first. Next year, in February of 25, Bell Point Press is going to bring out a book called The Singing River. So it'll be a full-length collection, and I'm super excited. Support your locals, right? Buy independence, we know that. So super grateful for it. We're kind of finalizing things now, and I just wanted to share a couple of poems from that with you. Brad Richard gave me a wonderful piece of advice some time ago. He said, pick poems from the beginning, the middle, and the end. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm following in the steps of the masters. So I'm going to read the first poem in the book, read a couple from the middle, and then I'll read one very, very, very close to the end of the book. I can't read the last poem of the book, which is actually the poem called The Singing River. It takes way too long, but not as long as another magnificent work, which has been bequeathed to us by Carolyn in recent days. But it is too long to read tonight, so I'll just read a little selection here and there. This is the first poem in the book. It's called Heat Wave. In the photo under the headline, the two girls, chin deep in the lake, are grinning from ear to ear, their faces pressed together so tight it looks as if one's mouth ends where the other begins, a long, unbroken chain of milky teeth. It is scarcely 80 degrees in that country, and they call it a heat wave. Let me tell you what I know of heat. I have seen the horizon bend and warp as though turned in a flash to taffy. I have seen trees uproot themselves from the earth and crawl under each other for shade. Where I call home, you can hear houses sigh and grumble as the glue that binds them melts. Or you can, in the stillness of early evening, as the sun contemplates its sinking, smell the cobwebs coughing into flame. Downtown at noon, the buildings shed all their windows and doors and bend their spires to snag the passing clouds. This is what I know of heat, of frail country. If this is where desire has led you, if this is what you want, then follow me no further, for all I have to offer are the shouts of two grown men chasing after lightning, trying to anchor the storm as 10 miles over in the next parched parish, the shadow of a barn eats a black dog whole. I used to live in Scotland, and that poem was written in Scotland, and I think this past summer with 100-degree temperatures for 3 straight months, I think we all got another taste of it. We are approaching storm season. This is called The Names of Storms. Some we speak of as friends, reminding us how to prepare for their arrival. Fill the tub with water, stock the cupboard with cans, that there are never enough batteries. Others we recall as old neighbors who left the axe in the tree, forgot to feed the dog, breezing back into town, gone again just as soon we can forgive their itinerants, stopping by just to check on the lilacs. But the last we speak of as lovers, Camille, Andrew, Isabel, turning our houses upside down, cutting our power, our water in their fury, leaving our lives strewn all over the yard, knowing that in years to come, we will be ravished again each time we murmur their name. I work on a project which is going to take a long time, but that's okay. Sometimes you get these, of mapping the state of Mississippi, where I was born and raised, in sonnets, and in particular, one sonnet for each state highway of Mississippi. I've written about 25-ish, and there are about 60 state highways, so at this rate, I'll be done, I don't know, by the time I'm about 72 years old, but that's okay. You know, you roll with it, right? And so sometimes the projects are given to you, you do not, yeah, you guys know. So this is one of the very first. I've been thinking about it a lot lately because I've been trying to compile some and put them together, and this is one which was written still living overseas, and 4 of them came. I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience. It's the only time it's ever happened to me. 4 sonnets arrived in a single night, and they just, you know, mostly complete, just like dropped right out of the pen, and it was like, holy shit, now what do I do? This is called Highway 57, and it's the highway that runs from Pascagoula up kind of the right-hand side of the state, southeast corner. Highway 57 to Van Cleve. All the sonnets in the book are written in the voices of the highways. So. Don't ask what stories I can tell. To me, your news is an oil slick drying in the sun. I eat light when the deer pass under your mother's headlights, spit it out 3 hours later when the sirens arrive. Then it's back to silence. Lustrous, clear until the moon unveils the shaded air and the cicadas burn with desire. Tonight, desire echoes back, hovering above the black like fresh mist after rain, off roads named after children, after whiskey and shame. So don't come asking down this tarmac. I took your parents first for all to see. Next, I'll write your truck onto a tree. They're really fun to write, and it's like, you know, we in the South, you know, we have so much, how can I say this, under every stone, under every log, under every square inch of soil, there is blood, you know, there are these hidden histories, and, you know, getting to travel all up and down the length of the state and uncover some of them, you know, there's murder in the book, there's rocket engines, there's just all sorts of shit, and, you know, it's been a real joy to get to kind of discover that, see the state in a new light. This next poem I'm going to read is called Palindrome, and it's really tricky to read, so bear with me. It is, in fact, a palindrome, so I'm going to do my best here. And it is dedicated to Anna. It's the same going forwards and backwards, you say, delighted at the prospect of your name. Hair loose, skirt flared, you twirl a perfect circle in place. The dark is a silk sheet settling around us, pausing as we catch our breath. I have sought you from one end of this city to another, open one door as I slammed another shut, hoping only to meet you here at the center of the world, this world, centered only when we meet, closing one door to open another, seeking each other from one city to the next, pausing to catch our breath under this dark silk sheet as we twirl imperfect circles in place. Your skirt loose, your hair flared, your name a newly lit prospect going backwards and forwards, nothing ever the same. Do I have time, Nikki, do I have time for one or two more? I cannot see you. That's
one.
What's a one? All right. All right. Thank you. Again, don't get old. My eyes. Last poem is comes near the end of this book, and it's called "The Fact of the Coast." It returns to Scotland briefly, and all that is just needs to be known is there is a train journey that you take from Berwick-upon-Tweed in Northumberland up to Edinburgh, and it goes along the eastern coast, and it's really significant for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons being it passes over the border between England and to the south and Scotland to the north. And there is the only fact of sort of geography that you need apart from that is there's a hill, famous hill there called the Law, which is sort of like a weird sort of geological formation. Don't worry too much about that. Just didn't want you to think that I was referring to like codes and precepts. It's a local terrain feature called the Law. So this is called the fact of the coast. And thank you guys. This is such a joy. Dylan, congratulations. Super excited. The fact of the coast. Already the town has melted into the fog. A moment ago, and we were lost in a thicket of walls wrought in glass and steel, bound in paints whose names would swallow the tongue. Then caravans speckling the green, clusters of plastics tapering away, then nothing. No brick, no cable, no girder, no car, just the train flowing forward with the wind, the hills on our left, the sea on our right, as far as we could see. There is nothing land loves so much as ending. The edges of the cliffs leap out over the waves, are bathed in spray and sun-flecked sea light, as the thin gullies inland rush downhill to meet them. Even the long arc of this train seems designed to bring us as close as possible to the brink, clasping the last meters of sandstone and turf where the gorse blossoms buffet our eyes. So sometimes I think I must have dreamt it. This stone cottage that slides into view on the shore, cradled in the blood-tinted rock, its ceiling collapsed, windows vacated, its one room sheltering the winds alone, its floor flung wide to the sky. Overhead, the gulls circle but refuse to land, their shadows rippling on the dark, wet moss, and then it is gone. Slipping back under a cliff just as soon as we have seen it, too soon to know if it was a house or a fort, Our Lady of the end of the island, holy sepulchre of shale. The train veers back towards the earth, our bottles slowly draining like the day. Soon we will pass the law, but will not see it. For the fact of the coast has left us deckled with the truth that somewhere beneath us is a border where one country bleeds into the next, and somewhere inside us is another. A border between the lid and the eye, the breath and the lung, the pull towards elegy, and the need to pelt the page with rocks until it breaks. Thank you.
So I went inside and I said, "Can you help me turn on the light that's right over the stage?" And what we got, like a disco light? That one?
Yeah.
It was amazing. Okay, the secret ending to Ben's bio that I almost accidentally read was his next book, a full-length collection of poetry entitled The Singing River, is forthcoming from Beloit Press in 2025.
Love you, Nikki.
Yes! Oh, it was really close. All right, our next reader is Carolyn Hembree. Woo! Carolyn Hembree is the author of three poetry collections for Today, LSU Press 2024. Rigging a Chevy into a Time Machine and Other Ways to Escape a Plague, Slaughterhouse Press 2016, winner of the Trio Award and the Rochelle Ratner Memorial Award, and Skinny, Core Press 2012. Her poems appear in Beloit Poetry Journal, Colorado Review, Copper Nickel, Ninth Letter, Poetry Daily, The Southern Review, and other publications. Carolyn holds an MFA in Creative Writing from the University of Arizona and is an associate professor in the University of New Orleans MFA program and was awarded the university's 2017 Excellence in Teaching Award. Carolyn is also the poetry editor of Bayou Magazine. Give it up for Carolyn.
The poem likes a new dialect. Dialects get old. The poem likes music. Music gets old. The poem likes figures. Figures get old. The poem likes voices. Voices get old. The poem likes ideas. Ideas get old. The poem likes company. Company gets old. The poem likes getting slapped around. This too gets old. The poem likes a secret said into a hole. The poem likes a dank hole. The poem likes a honeyed vent. Alas, even these get old. The poem likes to pin itself, like so, to my life in patterns. A cutter, Sestina, prom, 95. Fuck spring. Spring's a punk in rose leather who sings under lacy stars, the night bruised around. My knives are sharper than your knives. Na 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 na. Here, amid my corsage of voices, baby's breath, filler, wired voice, I'll call boss fleur. My rosiest, my loudest, I knife bloom upon bloom, I believed. In what? Unsung. In ribbons already, I'm around to what? Suffer, girls, this phantasmagoria stars. Stroked grunge and stars. You, pulsing through gaps in my stall, govern these voices. Govern these slits. Oh, we should belt around. So we never cry. We never stop crying. Should rise on tides, our diable heels bleed. Should sing our aerial arrival, a wave dynasty on a knife edge at the dance no one dances? With knives? For mirrors? Those stomped, cold stars we color our lips like our songs before bright heads loll. And voices disappear down school and wild rose wilderness corridors. When limos round the terraced distance with backseat cardigans there around necks. May every spike heel conceal a flick knife, for pinned torsos are so much cuffed blubber to arouse. Feeling is a lie, the crepe stars tell the falsy hills in a voiceover for a song never cut. Didn't I say I loved a gothic touch? A snuff song, a grudge fuck. Just look around to the year that amazed us all. A voice over the system. Have it. Where are the knives? The woods? Where are the starlets who play my ghost and cover my creeping flesh with roses? This poem So I was out this morning going to get my coffee, you know, and my take a look at the paper, the morning stuff, have an abortion, like sort of my daily abortion, you know, because if you haven't seen, there's like a buy one, get one free sort of underground kind of abortion thing going on. So I was heading to the gas station, right, for sort of a bleach douche, which is kind of what you can legally get now, or like, it's not really legal, but it's kind of what you have to do, like going to the toilet and just kind of up there. And so with the buy one, get one free, I'm definitely like doing one daily, an abortion a day. And then I saw this new, like this Governor Landry's, like his state police that are now like in New Orleans to turn us into, what was it, Charleston? Right? So fuck Charleston. You know what I'm saying? Like, and fuck the fucking governor, and fuck the state police, and all this shit, the trial. The court was everywhere, and always open, so everyone on the lam and rented rooms toasted me the night I turned 21. We left men thirsty as blank canvases. Again, my friends and I ascended the night like steam. The court was everywhere and always open. In a garret, half-done landscapes hung, and women crawled like dogs. I swear, it's fun, black as a game. Me? I was toast the night I turned 21 and came to on his floor. Barely a person, a subject whose friends, blood, torn uniform were the courts. Everywhere and always open, his chambers, mouth, blade, game. This turns me on. It spit like a hunk of meat. Wrong. What is time? And who'll toast the night I turned 21? Now everyone's lost. Yet worms parachute from old canopies that marshaled green air. He can't fathom. The trees court me everywhere, always open to toast the nights I turn and turn 21. Happy launch day, Dylan. So excited for you and so excited for your book. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks to my co-readers, Ben Morris, and thank you, Rodrigo. And big thanks to Nikki and Michelle for hosting this wonderful reading series, and yes, and Bar Redux for having us. I'll read a little thread of haiku from my book. 5 haiku. First sturgeon moon, yellow-crowned night heron, bright fish flashing. Rue so dark it perfumes my street. Knock, knock. Nursery window, a finch dive bombs the cat. Build higher nests. Coughing all night. Black air sown with spit. Hot house flowers. Glad to still smell. Wet magnolia. I fuck outdoors like the young. Thank you.
All right. Well, more time for Carolyn Hembree. Our third reader, and then we've got Dylan, is Rodrigo Toscano. Rodrigo Toscano is a poet and dialogist. Dialogist. I've read your bio so many times, and I do this every single time. Okay. Is a poet and dialogist based in New Orleans. He is the author of 11 books of poetry. His most recent books are The Cut Point, Counterpath, 2023, and The Charm and the Dread, Fence Books, 2022. His previous books include In Range, Explosion Rock, Springfield, Deck of Deeds, Collapsible Poetics Theater, and National Poetry Series Selection, To Leveling Swerve, Platform, Partisans, and The Disparities. His poetry has appeared in over 20 anthologies, including Best American Poetry, Best American Experimental Poetry, Voices Without Borders, Diasporic, Avant-Gardes, Imagine Theaters, In the Criminal's Cabinet, and Earthbound. Toscano has received a New York State Fellowship in Poetry and won the Edwin Markham 2019 Prize for Poetry. The Charm and the Dread was a 2023 honorable mention for the International Latino Books Award. And, oh my God, there's so many journals, I'm skipping to the end. His works for the Labor Institute in conjunction with the United Steelworkers, the National Institute for Environmental Health Science, National Day Laborers Organizing Network, and Northwest Tribes. Working on educational training projects that involve environmental and labor justice, health and safety, culture, and information. You can check out more of Rodrigo's work at rodrigotoscano.com, at Toscano200, and Rodrigo_Toscano200 on Twitter and Instagram. Give it up for Rodrigo.
Of course, I forgot my reading glasses, so we'll see how this goes.
Good thing the lights are good.
So, Dylan Krieger is just one of my favorite poets. I mean, just from the gut. The first time I saw her read here, I was, after she read, because before I had talked to people and I said, who's Dylan Krieger? Like, who's Dylan? And people were like, oh, Dylan. Yeah, of course, Dylan. She's great. Dylan, who's Dylan? Like, everybody knew who she was. I didn't know who she was. She read, and I was annoyed after she read because I didn't know who she was before, and then overjoyed by her poetry. And this new book is really quite a thing. And we have a lot of copies here, right? Okay. So this is from my my new book. It's not out yet, but I'm shopping around. And this is from a section in the middle called Humanitas, and these are poems indexed as humanity, each one of them. Humanity, a meandering raft. Something here won't allow a simple phrase about humanity. Since humanity is a dream dreaming us, it floats, fragments. So maybe this is a fragment, adrift in perilous waters. Let's say a swamp at midday in summer. Here our best portraitists hold fast, hatch humanity. Here our civilizational urges find an outlet back to sea. But for now, this raft is hushed among mangroves. Something here won't allow a simple humanistic line, a seed of a workable society, a terrain of energies to integrate. What is it that's disallowing? What is it that's speaking here? Might the metaphor of waterways signal the brink of beginnings? Or might the dream of brinking signal an open sea of endings? And this is Humanity, a Quirky Nomad. I guess this is set in the Paleolithic. And not just across savannas, but into the canyons and then out of the canyons towards deserts, and beyond deserts, this cliffside. People say this here cave's empty. But best scour the backmost nooks, that's where the fear is likely crouching. Warlocks of the end times scheming. The warlocks stumble from the start, lame attempts at conjuring awe, frightening no one in this cavern. Panic builds up in their voices. They scatter like 100 bats out into the crisp morning air. Thank mountaintops for crisp mornings, lush meadows, meandering herds. So we've settled in for a year and sacrificed the passing days, kindling verses, sparking up life, popping off tales around the fire. Work the quirk, everyone bellows. Work the quirk, that everyone does. But now, it's time to journey on, taking with us cinders of heart to the next valley where joy blossoms, or beachside where gloom goes to die, where worlds crackle into the air as the age funks out in ashes. This one's called Humanity, a loose brick. Dislodged a brick from the Cathedral of Salamanca humanism. That was dodgy. Took that brick home, put it on the mantle, stuffed it in the closet. That was freaky. Then took the brick back, reinstated that brick when no one was looking. That was sneaky. And posted a photo reel in the cathedral with everyone looking. That was cheeky. Then lined up the words, Justitia, Clementia, Dignitas, Abundantia. That was geeky. And extrapolated the governing concept, convivencia. That was ballsy. Then transmogrified the cathedral itself into a black cat. That was crafty. The cat then pranced all over town, nipping at hopes. That was frisky. Humanity, a glint in the fog. Girls in white baggy pants of linen fluttering crowd the boardwalk, no blouses embossed, stay foggy forever. Boys in black tank tops of rayon rippling crowd the boardwalk, no baseball caps embossed, stay foggy forever. The giant gilded golem in leopard skin loincloth at the edge of the bay, guarding the ancient city, gleamed in the fog. It seemed forever. Humanity, a squiggle. In pencil or pen or blinking cursor. These pyramid slabs plop down, slabbing it up. This cathedral's cathedralizing pre-cathedralization. This skyscraper's got a long way to scratch sky. We can see how the beautiful people want the beautiful people rendered in rock with emeralds for eyes, diamonds for groins. People not procreating en masse on cue sets the stage for specific types of rock work. Yeah, from the squiggledom comes all this and more. Feathered headdresses in glass cases, breastplate armor in glass cases, suits and ties in a glass case riddled in bullet holes. We can see how the gorgeous poems from the gorgeous poem factories roll out hot and ready to be molded into the walls of empire about to crumble. The gorgeous poems hate the ungorgeous poems, though both are frenetically conceived in corners of chipped up cities of squiggledom in a glass case. Humanity, Cretaceous terrace. Municipalized electricity. Oh, for an island. Plates lifting, plates sinking, plates crashing. Federalized health industry. Oh, for an island. Magma spewing, magma flowing, magma cooling. Demonetized education. Oh, for an island. Sponges chilling, sponges chilling, sponges chilling. Nationalized right to shelter. Oh, for an island. Seashell clumps, seashell shards, seashell mounds. Socialized childcare. Oh, for an island. Sand crab pop, sand crab hop, sand crab bob. Illegalized billionaires. Oh, for an island. Plesiosaur jaw, plesiosaur gut, plesiosaur turd. Deprivatized water and sewage. O for an island. Pterodactyls soaring. Pterodactyls circling. Pterodactyls diving. And this one's, there's a bunch of these, but this one's called, this is the last of the humanities I'm going to read. Yeah. And this one's called Humanity, a Sort of Shape. Because shape like that's can give hugs to shape like that's. And because shape like that's can hug not shape like that's. And also because shape like that's are also not shaped like that's. And because also not shaped like that's are also shaped like that's. It's a huggy house, shapes upon shapes, sort of shaping up. They had a sort of shape about them. That people can say. They were shapely. All right, so this is just a few little poems here to finish out here. This is from, these are just orphans, things that don't end up in my books, and I send them out to journals or whatever. I read them sometimes, but they're just kind of a ton of these that I have. This one's called Systems and Isolates. Everything locked in systems. The system of nose appreciation, the system of eye distractions per minute, the system of hair curl unravelings per year, the system of eyebrow separation per length, 1,000 foreheads. It's not easy to talk in systems, but a lot easier than isolates. Who could love isolates? The isolate of one curled lip, the isolate of one earlobe fading in violet sundown light, the isolate of an eye pummeled by stellar photons. It's easy to confuse systems for isolates. It's understandable to want isolates over systems. Who could love a neckline curving into a shoulder atop 10,000 torsos gliding over 10,000 beaches? Who could love moonlight beams skimming over one's cheek's surface? Who could love epidermal condensation relieving isolated pores overwhelmed by morning summer dew? Who could love 5 elongated drops of citrusy moisture sliding down a sternum, one behind the other, wicked up by briny ocean breezes at noon? It's not easy to surrender to systems, a lot easier than defeating isolates. Who could love the battle between systems and isolates? Who could capture a breath of sandy hot air, yearning, and release it upon silent request? This one's called Habilitas. One arm can be raised painlessly. The other arm cannot be raised painlessly. One foot beautifully articulates to all sides. The other foot is locked, causing a limp. One glute goes unnoticed throughout the day. The other glute is incessantly irritated. There's a million gnats hanging around here. Not all the gnats are in great shape. Some more than others are spry. Matter of fact, you could line them up one by one. An array of nano differences would emerge. We might call that a scale. Whatever. Primate that doesn't heal, that's the poem. That's the poem on a scale of spryness. It both can and cannot walk without a limp. But it moves through the gnat space, the ape space. It gears towards its own sun. That's the perception, at least. The minimally required deception. To get the sun not its own, but felt as its own, and how not? Our collective sun, that perennialist phrase, uttered by limpers in life, along gnats, agitated, swirling among, swatting each other. The nerve endings of tendons are fueled by the sun, not by the stars or the moon, and well, maybe the moon, maybe moving limbs or lunar tributes without our sunny consent. Maybe the gnats should calm the fuck down. Maybe the apes should dote on more practical matters, like 4 limbs wiggling efficiently enough, powered by hobbled hips, happily venerating the sun among gnats, curiously awaiting what moonlight might bring, what creature companions might emerge, What verse lines will each reach out for in reception? What painful or joyful range of motion might ensue among apes? Gnats notwithstanding, the sun, absurdly sunny, urging on. And this last one is it's just a little poem. I don't know, one of those beer napkin poems. It's just a little poem. It's just called Bursting. Bursting. What counts is energy, stored and released, like you, right now. Small bursts, modest gains. Forestalling one last burst, the most primal of bursts, advising you from the future on what counts, however useless. At the moment, so many tasks pending, all harassing, occluding what counts, unless what counts are tasks, one by one, some for self, some for others, requiring rates of energy, stored and released. As we say, consciousness, conscientiousness, heavy words, many syllables, big bursts dissipating, highlighting the moment, trail of vigor, feel it pass, feel the release, then the buildup of uselessness, ever pending, among the crowd, energized.
All right, thank you, Rodrigo. Okay, the featured act for tonight. The woman that brought us all together with her book release, which is conveniently sold underneath the roofed portion of the outdoor area. Smart thinking. With lots of other fine print swag. If you haven't checked it out, it's very clever, very fun. And there's free issues, free copies of issue 13. Hold that up, Ariel. Thank you, thank you. Everyone should grab one of those on their way out as well. And then screen printed posters. Buy a book, get a free poster. All right. Dylan Krieger is writing the apocalypse in real time in South Louisiana. She is the managing editor of Fine Print and the author of 6 earlier collections of poetry: Giving Godhead, Beloit Press 2017, Dreamland Trash, St. Julian 2018, No Ledge Left to Love, Pong 2018, The Mother Wart, Vegetarian Alcoholic 2019, Metamortuary 9 Mile 2020, and Soft Focus Slaughterhouse 11/11 2021. And then, of course, her most recent collection. Find her at dylankrieger.com. Give it up for Dylan. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone who read. I feel like I just scheduled my own humiliation hour because being the follow-up to Rodrigo and Carolyn and Benjamin, all of you are just so amazing to watch perform. So I hope I can be a good follow-up. And thank you for reading at my book release reading. If anyone's familiar with University of Hell Press, this is actually this is the same human being behind these 2 presses, but this is a different imprint of his called Limit Zero. They finally have like a website and everything like that. It now was on University of Hell, but if you Google Limit Zero, it should come up now. You can also get it on my Big Cartel if you don't have funds tonight and want it later. All right, so by a show of hands, I need like a warm-up before I get into that book, so who here believes in evil? Wow, a lot of you, okay. We have a challenge on us tonight.
By the way, this weather is what happens when you call out the gods for being predators. So we deserve this tonight. Belief in evil. When you believe in evil, steaks don't taste right. Lilacs collapse under the weight of dumbstruck fungus. Little girls still hide, like I did, from pickup trucks in the park after dark, new crop tops snagged in brambles but half repaired down the block. No one is watching until you don't want it. Then they're everywhere, resowing the flowers and asking what happened. So you say, evil. Beware of dog. A bad man is easy to find. And all the aftermath nods knowingly, as if it's normal for escape to feel as narrow as the throat mid-swallow, mid-throw-up. People who believe in evil tend to believe it lives here, in the gut, with the rest of the engines we've forgotten how to take apart. Parasitic, sick with secrets, past quick fixing. At dusk now, we lock the doors to shut it out, but it doesn't work. I don't believe in evil, and if I did, I have already worn it thin. I got a request today to read a specific poem from this, which was actually the first that I ever published from this book, and it was in Tilted House. So hi, Cameron. Everywhere we go, there is a whisper of a widowing, a soon-to-be neutered new order no one else wonders about. Touch your leech to mine so tenderly under this canopy of trees. Take nothing too seriously to wet and wrap around the sores on your hind feet. I igloo into your orbit in your sleep so you can't tell me melt. I wrap my legs around your hellscape and ricochet like dope about the brain. All wars look weird, no matter where you're sitting, half soaked in the stadium. Even the words for weapons sound antiquated, like we're not supposed to aquarium here anymore, but the ocean's no longer an option either. The question is always just how uncomfortable you're going to ask me to get for you. A very white shirt on a very red deathbed is how I want America to end. The way I feel about the fall of empire now is like a graduation song playing at an execution. So proud to see you reach your full potential by bending down beneath a reaping scythe, forgetting your own national anthem, stuffing an eagle with runoff chemicals and calling it the dinner of millions. A country is a strange thing to rage at, so vague in its internal organs, but steel-girt about the borders. Flyover fossils forever documenting which ribs stick out prettiest. And there we are among them, spotted from a fighter missile, where the more closely we listen, the more the distance, limb from limit. All right, we're backing up. For the washable tattoo atop a permanent scar. Whether a fire, cancer, slip of the wrist with a razor in the shower, the only evidence left is a pale sheen of fingerprintless disbelief in skin rebuilt, fine lines flattened into unidentifiable cropland gone fallow, black thumb all through summer, and the soil spits blood back. But look, there is a painted piece of paper that obviously wants to cover the world up, and it's whatever color you want it to be, baby. Golden, lavender, ruby, little fistful of familiar confettiing over a headstone like it's New Year's in hell. To think, the attention, welcome for once and stuffed with wet petals, when they fall off were different, crystalline coats fully saturated, weighted down with old gods in the pockets to keep from floating away. I wish anyone could say reconstructive and mean it, but they're always sort of smirking. Fine that the stitches stay in. Fine that the willows bend over just to fuck us. If not the tumors, contusions, what would we cover in tinsel and expensive juices? These are the landmarks that tell extinction it's moving in the right direction. Unhook the horror from the head wound and be honest. Even the lilies better gilded. This book is both really personal and really heady, so I'm going to read a more personal one now. Stay lucid in the dream long enough to make out with your monsters. Does anyone lucid dream in here? I just feel like being a teacher and having people raise hands today. Talk to me about lucid dreaming afterward. Talk to me about why you believe in evil afterward. Paper roses of prison pinned to my tiny childhood bedroom. I remember when friends looked like cooked flies on mom's windshield, 9 o'clock sharp, nighttime in local county lockup, where Mikey's window faced the alley, and somehow beyond logic, we enlisted our parents to be in on it. Back and forth, block to block, the west side, unkillable small town, out of a storybook too shitty to be published. Wishes are the things delicately affixed with scotch tape to the walls of cells never entered, too scared. But I was there, out back, countless drive-bys, riding shotgun into darkness, headlights off. I read the letters aloud, said yes to the charges, dressed up for a court date before I could vote. We don't even talk now, but I heard hard time happened. I hope it's over, but then again, what do I know? Landlocked civilian propaganda handed down over and over. Don't stay sore for the sake of it, the only maxim that matters in anger. What the flowers were oozing this whole time anyway. Come home one day and find the robin's eggs broke open. And what is there to say about the world about-faced? About the screaming turned to laughing? About the change? This is a little ditty that actually got published somewhere, but I feel like that website is just defunct now. Like, I tried to find it recently, and this just happens in the indie publishing world where it's like some dude's blog. Kill the Haymon, save yourself. If anyone knows Mina Loy, they know where this comes from. But it was actually kind of inspired by some famous dude, I don't remember who was like very concerned about his daughter's hymen for some reason, and I was so creeped out. Kill the Haymon, save yourself. Aside from the wildfires, what's so new about a world ordered by random pinpricks of damage? I laugh in Barbie's face when it breaks, and ask my mother to explain in terms of diagrammed Britannica. Something tangible to wipe the glisten of my own rain off the page as I tower high above the fear of change. Because it's already happened. Because I am open now for the bats to fly into, to make their roost, to stay. Autopsy reveals lasting marriages mostly composed of sharp metal in a theoretical vacuum. I am a longitudinal experiment in elopement, and the results are what you might call good on paper. As in, they're still together, I've never been arrested, listened in class well enough to welcome into my bloodstream the great canonical misogynists of history. What a setback success is. You have to unlearn everything and then keep it hanging around your house like an antibody. It's touch and go with me and weddings. Forget red-tinted glasses, even with a pile of full-blown roses up over my head. My mother comes wandering through sometimes with her 2 black eyes, the kind you might separate over, but not divorce. That's what I absorbed, looming large above the lesson planners about what bad men deserve. When the window shoppers point and huff, embarrassed not by what he's done, but by the gall of this girl to raise her face above the document, to show it off. Amidst global cataclysm, my retirement plan is to leave this old wallet and a little weed in a well-loved pocket for later. On vacation, you say there is a plan to eradicate the invasive species on this island before it gets as overrun as the mainland, and I wonder about the logic of propping up interventionism with more interventionism. The first sequel to the indigenous original was scary enough as it is, don't you think? Pocketed seed pod full of insect eggs on the plane back to the States where, come to think of it, every sprig of tenderness I spring from is non-native, prettiest red blooms, exotically toxic. It's not that the transplants carry some canker, but like me, their breed needs a natural predator, someone to be dangled by, recklessly, over fire, something to run from or else become part of. The moment of capture should crackle forever, indefinite delay between chase and digestion, where we are so close you're almost inside but not quite, and I don't dare budge from the incision site with its extravagant, unstable formula for human flight. I don't imagine any other ending. I don't imagine I survive. All right, I think it's time for a little show and tell. Chris? I think I only have one more after this, which I'll close with. But first I would like to show you this shirt. I don't have very many
Good job, Chris.
There's a poem from my new book on the back of this shirt.
Oh, cool.
I might have to just go off the stand.
This one's actually kind of wet.
Yeah, I'm gonna read them like Carolyn did, where my poems are out. I feel like that's smart. If you were raised by the same wolves I was, a strong accent makes you sound like an android by comparison. Loose bolts born of television news to mimic men from nowhere. No matter what the wishing well is selling, I can dig through the closets of skeletons and find better for so cheap it's nothing. Because coincidentally, as wet flyover trash myself, I am so cheap I'm nothing. And I tell the stranger on the street corner that's what Midwesterners have going for them. The awareness of falling square beneath the boot stump and not trying to stop it. Decorating the tiny dome between heel and toe as their own coastless keepsake, settling in for another snowstorm. To escape is a long con, and we're not fooling anyone. So we stay, perfectly afraid and dew-drenched in our hospital bracelets, standing stock still scarecrow style in never-photographed farmland, and the scavengers manage to fly in through our sleeve holes. But little do they imagine, we are not even human. Little can their wings fathom the fruit orchard already eaten till barren, the future turned lethal by the skin of its systems, and all the signet rings of lesser gods outstretched. Who wins best kisser? As you can tell, I've done that so much in poor lighting that I pretty much have it memorized, and I barely needed you. But the trick is to sell the shirt, right? There aren't that many left of them, actually. We have run out of a ton of sizes after our last jaunt at AWP, so help us run out. We have deals with the book, of course, but I do have one more for you. I feel like I have time, right? Yeah.
Yes, your book launch.
Right.
All right, I might even read you a new poem after this then.
Yeah.
This is my last one from the book. I am a classics minor, or was a classics minor, sorry, not present tense. Wow, PTSD, okay. So I was a classics minor. I couldn't write a book with a whole section about wolves without mentioning these two, right? These two fucks. If you were raised by the same wolves I was, this is every poem in the section. If you were raised by the same wolves I was, one of us won't make it out of this city alive, Remus. And the other will survive on borrowed Posca, missing the ghosts that never bothered to haunt her. What lurks in the forest is none of our business, and yet that's where myth might have left us. Unswaddled little proto-Romans dying of exposure. The question is whether the wolves raised us right, who we might have wound up, if petted gentler. But of course there is no answer in the scattering crows, vultures atop Mount Paladine. How high do you have to get to believe me? Conspiracy is what they call it when the tongueless start to speak and the augury of morbid birds still means more. As legend has it, no surrogate parent can protect us from the onslaught, and when they howled out our lullabies, they promised no such thing. Instead, they said to sharpen our new canines on the leather of each other, and as sure as Rome's still standing, some days I wake still in your teeth. So I had a poem that went over pretty well at AWP, and I just kind of felt like reading it because it was kind of the last one that I'm really proud of that I wrote. And then I have an even newer one that I've never read out loud that I'm kind of nervous about, but since my friend Caitlin keeps harping on the fact that I hate the word idiot, and I really do, it has idiot like in the title, and I feel like I could just publicly prove her wrong that I I did use idiot in a poem. The world flesh cures the infection of self. I have sold my body to the learning factory. I have seen the face of God casually outside a bar one night and then forgotten it. I have become what some call moth-eaten and others call well-loved if they're being polite. I have stapled my tongue to the goalpost and nodded off, witnessed the end-of-life Ferris wheel spinning at whiskey's periphery. I heard today someone younger than me killed herself legally in the Netherlands. Chronic fatigue, assisted reckoning. I heard today people like me are at a 10 times higher risk of suicide, and I actually laughed. It's so obvious. So fucking Mother. Removing her own suspicious mole with sterilized blade over the bathroom sink. Yeah. I have given up Lent, given up resurrection, given up the thing with feathers. I have eloped with myself and no one else. I have given marriage the old college try, and then cried over its coffin, and then buried my feet where crude oil could reach them at the beach. I have disinterred the corpse just to hold it one more time. I have written and edited and revised, and then rewritten the line to fit 9x5. I have organized my life to accommodate the longest possible apology for impending goodbye. I have opened wide for every ladle of human shit and saved it in my throat to vomit all over this precise moment. I have waited so long to tell you I was lying the entire time. I actually kind of had New Orleans in mind when I wrote this poem because of like the festival parade vibe, this next one. So I'm going to close with this one. Thank you so much to everyone involved in this reading. Carolyn, Michelle, Nikki, Rodrigo, of course. I need to thank Rodrigo like a second time because he did blurb my book. Oh, like, yeah. I have to say that. It's a wonderful blurb. I'm so grateful. And of course, Ben, for reading first. I know it's always... You really softened up the crowd for us with all of your stories and crowd work. Like you had some banter. I thought I was gonna get roasted at the beginning actually because you like named each of us.
Man, your depth charges have been going off one after another for the last 7 minutes.
Well, this is my newest, so don't judge too hard. But this is called Idiot Core, in the mood of cottagecore, but idiot style, you know. Idiot Core. The Fluke Festival would fall asleep if only the human race would allow it. Out of the maggots, a miracle mutation, the bimboification of luck. Most of us cannot escape this sentence, the velvety mouthfeel of the ask. Liberty is cheap, listed on Amazon and only a syndicated sitcom away. In the meantime, a mossy patina grows over the hard metallic coin of your blood. The surface salutes itself, refuses forgiveness. Grey rock stage 4 superstition. Behold, blank brain, idiot core, naked, tenorless vehicle. A red rose could care less about love. So-called signage, wilted index, absurd exteriority, astonishment all by itself with no explanatory leaflets. The image twists in fickle absence of analysis. Fluke meanings keep collapsing in a cloud of their own asbestos. Their so tired. It's bedtime for the festival. Finally, you'll dream tonight, and an interpretation won't exist. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for all 4 of our readers, but especially Dylan. Quick housekeeping. We had 4 readers tonight. They all have books out. If you head over to the other disco lights, yeah, the only disco lights that are still on. There's a rave in the corner. Buy some swag. I think Dylan has every single book here.
Wow, that's not true.
Oh, has 75% of her books.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, buy a copy. They've got some sweet deals going on. Carolyn's book for today came out a month and a half ago. Yeah, a month and a half ago. It's absolutely killer. It's been flying off the shelves, and tons of reviews and praise all over the internet, of course. So go. He brought 4 copies.
I don't remember, but there were copies.
Before they run out. Yeah, go get a
Before
copy
they run out.
as well. And then Benjamin Morris has. Are they hand stitched?
John did a Japanese binding on it. It's the Bordello edition.
It's absolutely beautiful. The cover is velvet. So go over there, spend some money, tip your bartenders, and give each other hugs and get home safe. Love you all very much.
Thank you.